On the day we were meant to collect our marriage certificate, my boyfriend claimed work was too demanding and failed to show up again. When I returned home, I was stunned to find a marriage certificate, his and his assistant's, with today's date printed clearly on it. I smiled faintly, set the document on the desk, and made up my mind to leave him for good. Just then, his call came through. His tone was sharp, impatient. "Emma, what are you doing now? How old are you to still play such childish games?" I was about to reply when his assistant's tearful voice drifted through the line. "Ethan, did Sister Emma misunderstand us? You should hurry back. I can handle this myself. Don't bother with her, she's always like this, so annoying. Right now, you're all that matters." Hearing him console her so gently left no doubt. The moment the call ended, my last hope vanished. As I packed my things to move out, Ethan entered, his new assistant Vivian right behind him. "Emma, go make some sweet soup." Vivian fainted from low blood sugar, he ordered, his gaze locked on her, face filled with worry. He didn't even glance at me, just barked commands. I paused, looked up briefly, and returned to packing, silent. Noticing my lack of response, Ethan frowned and finally raised his eyes. "Emma, don't you understand me?" When Ethan saw me packing my luggage, he froze for a second. Then his expression darkened, and he strode toward me. "Emma, what is this supposed to mean? Are you seriously planning to pack up and break up with me?" I didn't pause for a moment, replying coolly, "Can a breakup ever be fake?" "You." My indifferent tone left Ethan choked for words, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. "What about me?" I sneered, shot Vivian a quick glance, and said with biting sarcasm, "Didn't you already bring your new wife home? I'd better make space for her quickly." "Emma, what are you talking about? I don't understand." Ethan's voice trembled, his eyes flickering nervously. I gave a sharp laugh and hurled the marriage certificate at his face. "Ethan, are you such a coward, bold enough to act, but too weak to admit it?" When his eyes fell on the two marriage certificates, he went pale with panic, then roared in anger. "Emma, what game are you playing? Why do you have these certificates?" I only smirked at him coldly, saying nothing. The tension thickened, until Vivian spoke in a tearful whisper. "Ethan, I sent it to the wrong place. Because I married you and caused you to quarrel with Sister Emma, it's all my fault." Her voice broke as she sobbed harder. "Vivian, none of this is your fault." Ethan's tone softened instantly. He moved toward her, eyes full of pity, and carefully guided her inside. "Since you already know, I won't hide it anymore. Vivian has been diagnosed with advanced gastric cancer," Ethan said softly. "She doesn't have much time left. Her final wish is to marry me. You know, Vivian has been with me since she graduated, sharing my worries, supporting me through everything. She's more than just my assistant, she's my friend. And when a friend is in trouble, how could I stand by and do nothing? After Vivian passes away, we can revisit our marriage. Emma, surely, you can understand me, right?" His eyes searched mine, filled with expectation. I turned away, my voice laced with scorn. "She's your assistant. Your friend. Now your wife. Discuss things with her, not me." Seeing my resolve, Ethan's brows furrowed. "Emma, must you be like this? Why are you so heartless? I already said I'll marry you. What difference does it make, early or late? Vivian is a patient. Why can't you show her some compassion?" Vivian lowered her head, tears sliding down her cheeks at just the right moment. I paused packing, glancing at the two of them standing so close, singing in perfect harmony. A bitter laugh escaped me. I'd be lying if I said my heart didn't ache, seeing my former lover care for another woman like that. But our relationship was already stained, and I refused to be entangled in it any longer. "Yes, I'm cold-hearted. I'll leave right away and never disturb you again." I spoke calmly, nodding, then grabbed my suitcase and headed for the door. But as I passed Ethan, he seized my arm. His voice was like a blade. "Emma, don't push me too far. Apologize to Vivian right now, and I'll pretend none of this happened. Otherwise. I cut him off with a sharp laugh. Otherwise what? You'll never let me come back? Beg you? Or her? You want me to apologize? To her? Does she even deserve it? Ethan's expression darkened to a storm, his warning clear and cold. Emma, enough. I'm giving you one last chance. Apologize to Vivian, or don't blame me for being ruthless. The air froze, heavy with silence. Then Vivian clutched his wrist gently, her voice trembling yet tender. Ethan, don't be angry with Sister Emma. She's not wrong. It's all my fault. I should be the one to leave. At once Ethan softened, turning to console her instead. Seizing the moment, I yanked my suitcase free and walked out without a backward glance. But before I crossed the threshold, his cold voice cut through the air once more. Emma, if you walk out that door today, don't ever think about coming back, Ethan's voice rang out coldly. Let's see what kind of happy life a useless person like you can have without me. I stopped, turned around, and looked at them, not out of nostalgia, nor because I wanted to return. I simply wanted one last look at the man I had once loved so deeply. But his face now, it was revolting. After a brief glance, I turned away and laughed softly, without hesitation. Ethan had once been the one I couldn't win over, yet the only one I had chosen. He was always the young master of the Ethan family, aloof, privileged, untouchable. I was nothing but a small, insignificant figure in comparison. We first met in college, though we barely interacted then. Still, I followed his every step, attending classes, eating meals, taking quiet walks, just to be near him. In time, I studied hard, transferring to his college just to see him more often. Until this very day, I had always believed that decision was worth it, for it brought me closer to Ethan. I remember the professor's announcement before finals, form groups and collect data in the lab, or risk failing. As one of the top students, I wasn't surprised when Ethan, who had rejected so many others, approached me himself. My heart had pounded wildly, cheeks burning so hot I thought they might cook an egg, as I stared at his handsome face. With a teasing smile, he had leaned forward and whispered, "Student Emma, if you keep looking at me like that, the bell for the end of class will ring." The entire class erupted in laughter. Flushed with embarrassment, I wanted to hide, but Ethan didn't mock me. Instead, he turned to them and said firmly, "Stop laughing. It's my honor to be in a team with classmate Emma," Ethan had once said. From that moment, our bond grew closer and closer, until one day, he surprised me by confessing his love. We spent 3.5 wonderful years together in college, admired as the perfect couple by everyone around us. Even while dating, I never neglected my studies. I earned full scholarships every year and received an offer from a prestigious international company upon graduation. But as the only heir of his family, Ethan had to return and inherit the family business. Seeing the sadness in his eyes at the thought of parting, I didn't hesitate. I turned down that coveted job and joined the Ethan group instead, offering strategies to secure his position within the company. To avoid gossip about favoritism, I started from the bottom, working harder than anyone else. Our relationship deepened, and I believed the time had come to discuss marriage. Yet every time I raised the topic, Ethan evaded the conversation, offering vague excuses. Later, I discovered the reason: Vivian had already entered his life. She was younger, prettier, and skilled at pleasing him. Gradually, our conversations shifted, from dreams and plans for the future to mundane details about Vivian. I noticed his change, of course, and made countless efforts to save what we had. But his heart, it was no longer with me. No matter how I tried to hold on, one call from Vivian and he would rush to her side, leaving me behind without hesitation. The tenderness and patience he once reserved for me now belonged entirely to her. For me, only coldness and criticism remained. Yet still, I couldn't bring myself to let go. I brought up marriage one final time, and this time, he agreed. But on the day we were supposed to collect our marriage certificate, he abandoned me once more, for Vivian. When I saw their marriage certificate, I knew it was time to wake up for real. Back at the small, worn-down house my parents had left me, I leaned against the wall where their portraits hung and finally broke down, crying loudly. After emptying my grief, I cleaned the place up, bought some essentials, and decided to stay here. Lying on the same bed from my childhood, my restless heart began to settle. That night, I had the best sleep I'd had in years, no longer worrying about Ethan's moods, whether he'd eaten, or if he was warm enough. In my dreams, I saw my late parents. I wanted to talk to them, but before I could, the dream turned sour. Ethan appeared, scolding me for being cruel to Vivian. He tugged at my sleeve, demanding I apologize to her. Anger surged through me, but before I could retort, a sharp ringing jolted me awake. Still half drowsy, I answered the phone, only to hear Ethan's furious voice. "Emma, where did you run off to? Did you forget today's company signing reception? Everyone else is arriving in pairs, but my partner is missing. Are you trying to embarrass me?" I pulled the phone away, already impatient. "If that's what you think, fine," I muttered. "Emma." Ethan's voice rose, echoing footsteps through the line as though he were moving to a quieter spot. Then came a long sigh, and his tone softened slightly. "Emma, today is an important day for the company. Don't stay mad, okay? Come quickly. The signing ceremony is about to begin. After the reception tonight, I'll explain everything properly, okay?" His voice was almost pleading, and my hand holding the phone relaxed slightly. Before I could respond, bursts of laughter and teasing came from his side. "Hey, Assistant Vivian looks like a bride today. Look closely, today she really matches our little Ethan's father." Vivian replied with a shy tone, "Don't talk nonsense. I just dressed casually." I didn't respond, and Ethan called again. I sneered. "Ethan, don't you already have a female companion? Don't call me anymore." Without waiting for his answer, I hung up quickly, knowing that if I didn't, my sorrow would spill over. I didn't want to dwell on the past, but the memories of the last 5 years were deeply intertwined with my daily life. So many days and nights had been spent loving him. I had never considered how to live without him. Once, he had put me first, promising we would be together forever, but now, I was no longer needed. Tears slid down my cheeks, wetting the pillow. I snapped out of the past memories, but a sharp knock on the door startled me. Instinctively, I thought it was him. My body reacted faster than my mind. I opened the door barefoot, and realized how ridiculous I'd been. "Emma, it's really you. You're back." Olivia from the neighborhood committee smiled warmly and patted my shoulder. "Yes, Olivia, I'm back. What do you need?" "Oh, right, I almost forgot the main thing," she said seriously. "Emma, go downstairs. There are several black cars blocking the intersection. They're looking for you. Roads are narrow now, and neighbors can't get in or out." I frowned and followed Olivia downstairs. At the intersection, Ethan's black car was parked prominently. The moment I appeared, a bodyguard opened the car door, and Ethan strode out. I turned to leave, but he commanded coldly, "Emma, stop right there." I didn't. Instead, I quickened my pace, but his personal bodyguard blocked me. "Emma, what do you mean?" Ethan caught up, slapping me without hesitation. "You've gone too far." I met his gaze, but all love had vanished. For a moment, he seemed stunned, then spoke coldly. "Do you know I gave up all the guests in the room just to come pick you up? Now come with me." I ignored him, but neighbors had started pointing and whispering. Although I didn't want to be with Ethan, I couldn't bear becoming the center of everyone's discussion either. After weighing the pros and cons, I walked toward Ethan's car in my pajamas. The rear seat window rolled down, and Vivian, dressed in a gown, leaned out apologetically. "Sister Emma, I'm really sorry. I'm not feeling well, so Ethan asked me to sit in the back with him." "I'm sorry you have to sit in the front passenger seat." Ethan followed her lead. Noticing my gaze fixed on Vivian, he seemed slightly embarrassed. He opened the rear seat door for me, trying to excuse her. Vivian isn't feeling well, so I brought her out for some fresh air. You don't mind, do you, Emma? The back seat is spacious, we can all sit together. I quickly looked away and chose the front seat myself. I don't mind. Ethan's displeasure was evident. He opened his mouth to say something but finally stayed silent. He slammed the rear seat door and coldly ordered, "Drive." As the car moved, curious neighbors continued to follow, making Ethan's face darken even more. His voice carried clear dissatisfaction. I never thought such a shabby place could be inhabited. Wearing an expensive suit and coming here, what bad luck. Hearing him, I shot a cold look through the rearview mirror. Since you're so noble, Ethan, maybe you really shouldn't have come today. Vivian's voice trembled as she tried to intervene. Ethan, did I make Sister Emma unhappy by coming along? Should I switch seats with her? Ethan glared at me through the rearview mirror. You just sit there. Let's see what she can do to you. I ignored him, withdrew my gaze, and closed my eyes to rest. I was conserving my energy for the tough battle ahead. Ethan, since you're not willing to let me go easily, don't blame me for using any means necessary. The car stopped in front of a hotel under the Ethan group. Ethan still seemed angry. As soon as the car halted, he hurried out alone, followed by his bodyguard, so he wasn't worried I would run. I got out calmly. Vivian approached with a sarcastic smile, no longer pretending weakness, but aggressively blocking my path. Don't be too complacent, Emma. Ethan is my husband now. You're just a shady mistress. Just wait, he'll be mine in the end. And I'll tell you in advance, Emma, you'll finally rise from a sparrow to a phoenix, just not with him. I clapped my hands with a smile and walked past her, sarcasm written all over my face. Actually, I knew the real reason Ethan insisted I attend today's signing ceremony wasn't because he cared about me. It was because the leading company signing with the Ethan Group today had been negotiated personally by me. The leaders of that company recognized my ability and specifically requested that I handle the business dealings with the Ethan Group. Otherwise, there would be no deal. If I didn't show up today, and that company felt ignored, the billion-dollar project would collapse. That was why Ethan had condescended to pick me up from the slum. Just as I reached the entrance of the banquet hall, Ethan appeared from the side. He frowned, scanning me in my cheap pajamas. With obvious contempt, he asked, "Are you going to attend like this? It's already embarrassing enough." After the sarcasm, he dragged me backstage to the dressing room. He picked out a gown that matched his suit and tossed it at me. Then he arrogantly ordered the makeup artist and stylist, "Hurry up." I felt like a puppet being manipulated. Looking in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. Finally, I looked decent. Ethan stood behind me, arms crossed, commenting sharply. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. I didn't care about these superficial decorations. Tonight would be my last night in his world, I didn't care what anyone thought. Dressed up, Ethan forcefully took my arm and led me into the banquet hall. The moment we entered, the lights focused on us. Conversations and clinking glasses stopped abruptly. I felt dazed, it felt more like Ethan and my wedding than a signing ceremony. Sure enough, the host confirmed my premonition. Clearing his throat, he read blessings of eternal love and announced that the signing ceremony would follow the engagement of young Master Ethan's father. I snapped back to reality and tried to break free from Ethan's grip, but he held my arm tightly. "Emma, you'd better cooperate with me today," he ordered, tone unassailable. I sneered and forcefully broke free. In front of everyone's shocked eyes, I calmly declared, "Today's engagement ceremony is a show self-directed and self-acted by Mr. Ethan. I know nothing about it and will not accept it. I have drawn a clear line. Ethan and Miss Vivian, his assistant, are now husband and wife. I never interfere in others' marriages. Therefore, I officially resign from the Ethan Group and will no longer participate in any business dealings." Finally, I smiled at Ethan. "I've already resigned, and the liquidated damages have been transferred to your account. From now on, we will never see each other again." Ethan stood there stunned, hands clenched, staring blankly. I turned and left. The signing party realized I wasn't joking. Wine glasses were smashed in anger, someone muttered, "This is ridiculous," and the team left the banquet. All the small entrepreneurs stayed, waiting for the follow-up. As I pushed the door to leave, Ethan finally came to his senses, running after me. "Emma, stop right there." I was stopped by his bodyguard and turned to look at him. Ethan tugged at me plaintively. "Emma, how could you do this to me? Didn't we have an agreement?" Vivian stepped forward carefully. "Ethan, I'm not feeling well. Can you stay with me?" Ethan didn't even glance at her. Instead, he looked at me expectantly. "Emma, stop making trouble. Don't be angry with me anymore, okay?" The scene fell silent for a moment, everyone frantically recording on their phones. I finally snapped, voice sharp with anger. "Ethan, you may not care about your dignity, but I do. You were the one who dumped me and married someone else. I let go and tried to be magnanimous. But it's also you who's pulling me back and refuses to let go. What do you even want?" "No, Emma. I've always loved you. I'll divorce Vivian right away, and we'll get our marriage certificate immediately." At that moment, Ethan realized I wasn't just throwing a tantrum. His eyes reddened with anxiety as he looked at me hopefully. I stared at him expressionlessly, my impatience was palpable. Once, if he shed a single tear, I would have blamed myself for days. But now, seeing the tears welling in his eyes, I felt nothing but disgust. "Ethan, you're truly heartless. Your newlywed wife eagerly waits for your attention, yet here you are, pestering me in front of her. How humiliated must she feel?" I glanced provocatively at Vivian. Ethan frowned and signaled the bodyguard to take her away. No matter how much Vivian protested, he didn't spare her a single glance. "Emma, my future wife will only ever be you. I was wrong this time. I'll never do it again." If I had heard those words before, I might have given my life for him. But now, I pushed him off in disgust. The Ethan group is massive. You don't want it ruined on your watch, do you? If you don't care about the stock price plummeting, I don't mind arguing here. Hearing this, Ethan finally let go of my hand, trembling. I pushed open the door and left quickly. I didn't expect him to chase me. Shoes lost, leaving bloody footprints behind. I calmly withdrew my gaze and waited for the car I booked online. He reached out, trying to pull me into his arms, but when he saw my cold eyes, he froze, looking wronged. "Emma, I've thought it over. Nothing is more important than you. My dad will handle the Ethan group, I'll take care of everything." He said it sincerely. I understood the implicit meaning. Seeing that I didn't mock him, he carefully approached and took my hand. Looking up at me with tears in his eyes, he pouted. "Emma, my feet hurt so much." I didn't answer, letting my gaze pass over him. "If your feet hurt, go complain to your legitimate wife, not pester your ex like me." Ethan's expression wavered with emotion but quickly calmed. He grew bolder and slipped his arm around my waist. "Emma, stop being sarcastic. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I even chased you out. Can't you feel my love?" I looked down quietly. His love? No. The young master of the Ethan family had always been the one being fawned over. My constant rejections had fueled his desire to conquer, but once he got what he wanted, I became uninteresting. "Your wife is watching. Aren't you going to comfort her? It's not right to let her show such a heartbreaking expression." Ethan turned sharply. Vivian stepped forward and hugged him. "Ethan, don't go with her. Let's go home, okay?" I added fuel to the fire. "Ethan, don't do anything that makes me look down on you. Since you've made a choice, there's no turning back. Ethan, I don't want to see you ever again from now on." Perhaps my repeated refusals had bruised his pride. He pushed Vivian aside and draped his arm over her shoulder, glaring at me with a dark, stormy expression. "Emma, you really don't know what's good for you. You didn't cherish it when I coaxed you gently. You just had to make me angry. Fine, never see each other again, right? Let's see which other company dares to hire you after the Ethan Group publicly dumps you. I retorted coldly, we'll see about that. That night, the farce at the Ethan Group banquet topped the hot search headlines. I didn't know who leaked my number, but reporters bombarded me non-stop. I blocked one batch, and the next immediately called. Helpless, I went to the business hall early the next morning to cancel the couple's number I had with Ethan. Finally, peace returned. Just when I thought I could live quietly, Ethan struck again. He arrived in 3 cars and blocked the entrance of my community. He threatened to stay in the car until I got in. I wasn't afraid of the neighbors watching, I feared reporters staking out and ending my peaceful days. Filled with anger, I got into his car. When he saw me, a glimmer of light flashed in Ethan's eyes before he quickly regained his composure. I noticed it and observed him quietly. Mr. Ethan, have you forgotten what you said that day? What brings you here today? My tone was distant and cold. He lowered his gaze. Emma, my dad is in the hospital and wants to see you. The arrogance he had shown that night had disappeared, so I remained silent. We arrived at the hospital in silence. Ethan's father lay pale in the bed. Dad, Ethan stood half a step behind me, wringing his fingers softly. And, his father responded faintly. Just that single syllable carried weight and authority. I glanced at Ethan, whose head bowed even lower. These small gestures were his trademarks when he was nervous and afraid. If it were before, I would have reached out to comfort him, assuring him I was there. But now, I casually sat on the leather sofa and looked directly at the head of the Ethan Group without fear. Mr. Ethan's father, what do you wish to discuss? Let's get straight to the point. I'm sure Miss Emma is aware of the sharp decline in the Ethan Group's stock price. I invited you here with no other request, I only hope that you and my son can marry as soon as possible. After saying this, Ethan's father coughed, covering his mouth. Though weak, his tone was resolute. The nurse beside him stepped forward to pat his back. Ethan wanted to move closer but dared not. His eyes turned to me for help. I withdrew my gaze calmly. Is the Maxwell Group giving the Ethan Group a hard time? The Maxwell Group was the leading company that had specifically sought me out and only agreed to sign a contract under my supervision. Ethan's father finally stopped coughing. Miss Emma is a smart person. I smiled, fully understanding. The Ethan Group was no match for the Maxwell Group. By offending them, they had no choice but to seek peace. From beginning to end, I had been a tool for these powerful players, with no autonomy at all. What do you think, Miss Emma? I've already ended my son's ridiculous marriage. Now, as long as you give your nod, you can live a happy life with him. Ethan looked at me with great anticipation, his eyes glistening with tears. I smiled at him and spoke clearly, word by word, sorry, I never want something that someone else has discarded, a second-hand item. As soon as I finished, Ethan's father angrily hurled a water glass at him. Useless thing. All the troubles are caused by your misdeeds. Don't you have any idea what kind of person you are? How dare you act so arrogantly in front of me? His accusations, thinly veiled but pointed, kept glancing at me. Blood immediately gushed from Ethan's forehead. Yet he stubbornly looked at me, face full of tears. Even seeing him hurt, my heart remained calm as still water. I said nothing, watching coldly, then sneered and walked away, the click of my high heels echoing behind me. Ethan's father, unused to being defied, seethed with frustration. He angrily leapt from the bed, cursing without restraint. For the first time, Ethan defied his father just to follow me. Choking back sobs, he cried, Emma, there are no obstacles between us anymore. Do you really not want to marry me? If you do, then get out of my way. Anger surged through me. I shook my head in disbelief as he continued, Emma, you would never treat me like this. Is there really no chance for us? I've already divorced her. I've always loved you, but I don't love her anymore. I didn't believe a word. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Emma, you loved me so much before. Have you forgotten? Ethan's hysteria escalated. I pursed my lips and looked at him coldly. You know that was just in the past. The person I loved is already dead in my heart. My words pierced him like a thorn. He clutched his head in pain, muttering that it wasn't true. My patience was gone. I had no mood for his confessions. I shoved him aside and turned to leave. Ethan fell to the ground behind me, crying and screaming. I frowned tightly, then laughed and strode away. After that day, I cut off all contact with Ethan. I didn't follow the Ethan group deliberately, but the news still reached me on TV. To appease the enraged Maxwell group, the Ethan group paid a high liquidated damages fee, laying off many longtime employees to reduce expenses. Discontent spread widely, and negative news about the Ethan group poured in like a landslide. Without its foundation, it might have collapsed entirely. I didn't feel much, it was all Ethan's own doing. When I had decided to lie low and pursue studies abroad, the Maxwell group somehow got my number. A senior executive personally called, extending an olive branch. It would be a lie to say I wasn't tempted, but joining the Maxwell group might have meant dealing with Ethan again someday. I declined their generous offer. I contacted my college mentor and sought advice about studying abroad. He was surprised but understood. He lamented that I had missed the chance to join a big company before but comforted me. Emma, you're a talented person. Your future achievements will surely surpass mine. I worked hard to live up to his expectations. I passed the extremely difficult entrance exam on the first try and was admitted to an Ivy League school abroad. My mentor, proud of me, contacted all our classmates and planned a grand banquet to celebrate. It was at this class reunion that Ethan and I met again. When I saw him, I was stunned for a full minute, unable to react. It was Ethan who broke the silence. Emma, long time no see. He walked over, smiling, but the warmth didn't reach his eyes. I pursed my lips and looked down, unsure what to say. Noticing my scrutinizing gaze, he gave a self-deprecating smile. I must look really ugly now. Not really. You just look a bit haggard, I replied honestly. Perhaps because of my harsh attitude toward him that last day, his eyes suddenly turned red when I spoke calmly. Emma, he said in a muffled voice, taking a step closer. I thought you wouldn't even say a word to me anymore. I stepped back, frowning slightly. You're overthinking. As long as you keep your distance, I don't mind continuing as old classmates. My evasive action froze him in place, and the sadness in his eyes was almost overwhelming. I felt annoyed. Let's stop reminiscing. Hurry in. The professor is already here. I left the sentence hanging and entered the private room first. Amidst congratulations from classmates, I gradually became tipsy. After a few rounds of drinking, the professor excused himself, saying he couldn't hold his liquor, and left first. Everyone understood, he was giving us, the young ones who hadn't seen each other in years, space for a wild celebration. We chatted about all sorts of things, and gradually the topic turned to me. I answered with a polite smile. But when everyone mentioned that Ethan and I had been the golden couple, I felt my expression turn cold. I picked up my glass and toasted him from afar. Ethan is the young master of the Ethan group. I'm not worthy of him, but I still want to thank him. He's really great. He taught me how to be an independent woman. I drained the glass in one gulp and quickly changed the subject. Let's talk about something else. Don't make our school hunk uncomfortable. Many classmates knew we had broken up. Seeing the awkward atmosphere, they laughed and cooperated to change the topic. But some individuals who had a crush on Ethan, unaware of the details, kept urging us to play couple games. Seeing this, I put down my glass and stopped responding. Ethan came to my rescue. Emma has had a bit too much to drink tonight. Let's not play games for now, let's just chat casually. Still, everyone wouldn't give up. Under the pressure of the crowd, Ethan came to my side. Someone pushed him forward, and he trapped me gently. I reflexively jumped back, but he was quick-witted and put his arm around the back of my neck. He looked at me pleadingly. The classmates cheered, shouting, "Kiss one," and he leaned toward my lips. At that moment, my patience snapped. I broke free, stepped back, and said, gloomy, "That's enough. Ethan, others might not know the situation between us and are just egging us on, but don't you know?" Ethan bit his lower lip, looking pitiful. "Emma." I ignored him and turned to everyone. "Ethan and I broke up a long time ago." "The reason?" "He married another woman behind my back." The room went silent, everyone shocked. I added, "Sorry, I've had a bit too much to drink. I'll leave now." Underscore 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 underscore. I couldn't stay in that suffocating space any longer. I pushed the door open and ran, fleeing from it all. I never thought Ethan could be so difficult to shake off. Somehow, I even began to miss the arrogant man who used to look down on everything. "Ethan, are you done?" I stopped and said irritably. "Chasing me like this will only make me hate you more." Tears streamed down his face as he whispered softly, "Emma, I know you're going abroad, and I know I can't keep you. I just want a few more looks at you while I still can." I closed my eyes, swallowed my emotions, and said as calmly as I could, "I saw Vivian's moments. Aren't you two back together? You've also been to the places we promised to go. That's really nice. I wish you all the best." "No, it's not like that." Ethan stepped forward eagerly, but when he noticed my expression turn cold again, he lowered his eyes and took a step back. "I've completely broken up with Vivian. She wasn't sick, she lied to me. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Emma, I really regret it." He stood there, shoulders trembling, crying silently. If time could go back, I would have held him in my arms and comforted him gently. But the past couldn't be recalled. "Ethan, I don't care about any of this anymore. Let me go, and let yourself go too." On the day I went abroad, it rained. I dragged my suitcase through the airport, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw Ethan again. He was fully dressed, following me at a distance. I sighed softly and walked into the lounge. He sat behind me, quietly observing me through his sunglasses. I pretended not to notice, put on my headphones, and waited silently to board. Before leaving, I received an unexpected call. "Miss Emma? Mr. Ethan's father?" I replied, surprised. "No need to be so formal. Wouldn't it be more affectionate to call me Ethan's dad?" I glanced at Ethan and said indifferently, "We're not that familiar. It's more polite to call you Mr. Ethan's father." Ethan clenched his fists tightly, a small movement I caught from the corner of my eye. I ignored it and said lightly, "Mr. Ethan's father, if you have something to say, just say it directly." There was silence on the other end. Then a sigh. "Miss Emma, if I apologize to you now, would you give Ethan a chance?" I opened my mouth to reply, but Mr. Ethan's father interrupted. "Don't rush to refuse. Listen first. You've been with Ethan for so many years. I admit I didn't think much of you before, but I never interfered. Ethan was spoiled as a child. I always thought he was just playing around with your relationship. After all, you two are from different social classes. But since he broke up with you, he's been in a slump, and his health started to deteriorate. As a father, I feel it deeply. If anything I did before made you unhappy, I sincerely apologize. I just hope you can give Ethan another chance for the sake of your past." I put the phone on speaker and stood up, facing Ethan. "Mr. Ethan's father. Mr. Young Ethan's father, since that's the case, I'll make it clear once again today. Ethan and I will have no relationship from now on, other than being strangers." On the day I left, Ethan had fainted in the airport lounge. When he fell, his sunglasses slipped off, revealing his handsome face. All the ladies nearby rushed forward to check on him. Seeing this, I deleted his emergency number from my phone screen and dragged my suitcase away. Even while queuing to board the plane, my heart remained uneasy, constantly afraid that the Ethan father-son duo would pursue me again. It wasn't until I settled into my seat on the plane that my restless heart finally calmed. Looking out the window at the blue sky and white clouds, I finally felt a flicker of relief. After the plane landed, breathing in the foreign air, I suddenly felt the urge to cry. I sniffled, restrained the unease in my heart, and walked toward the senior who had come to pick me up, wearing a warm smile. During my days abroad, I immersed myself in rigorous studies. Those lingering thoughts of Ethan were completely replaced by complicated courses and demanding assignments. If it hadn't been for the overseas call I received late one night, I would have almost completely forgotten him. "Hello? Is this Miss Emma? Mr. Ethan has just passed away. Before he died, he asked me to contact you no matter what. He wanted to tell you, Emma, that in the next life, he will never let you slip away again." The call ended. I sat there, dazed for a moment. After turning off the phone, I fell back into my dreams, lost in the echo of a past that could never return.